Hump, that guy.
Who?
Didn't you have like a get your stroke right guy?
Yeah.
Oh, the stroke side of the game.
Right.
Okay, I would like to have been there for that show.
Oh, here we
That
are.
would be funny.
Yes. Yay. I'm gonna laser tag on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If you, hey, just go live, bro. It's 5:01. Just play the intro regular. Don't.
I'm trying. I got. All right.
Yeah, it's 5:01. We can't. We got to go live. We got to go live. No special effects. We just got to do it. 60 seconds late is not suitable for Zoe.
Amen.
All right
I
now. How facts.
We gotta fast track it, pimp.
Yes, that's right. That's
Oh
right.
my God.
You can have your own probably.
No, so these are books I'm trying to read.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
I wasn't even paying attention just now.
Here we
They're
go.
broken. I've been trying to fix
I'll trade you.
them.
I'll fix those.
Okay, but I'm like connected to his system. Let me see if I can figure out.
You and I are connected.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So
But otherwise,
whichever
I was thinking,
headphone
have
is
your own.
connected to this, you should wear it.
Oh, and it's that one. So that's what I was trying to do. So he needs to.
Here, I'll fix it.
Oh, and they broke? Well then
Never
let's
broke.
let's
Fix.
flip it.
He
Can we
Oh,
fix
yeah,
it?
we're
Oh,
fine.
okay,
We're
good.
flipping on.
He fixed it.
Are we on?
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. Your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a bad person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the child wasn't here and you still had to pay child support?
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many
I'm
questions.
sorry.
I want to ask.
I'm like, you know what it is. Is there something wrong with that?
There we go.
I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with the bad pipes routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
I sit with a tense in my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses. Yeah.
Inside.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams.
Reason and accountability.
The voice of reason.
Yeah. We got another hell of a topic. We're a couple of minutes late. I know, it's not my style. I get it. But hey, it happens. Where are my beats, man? Hey, man, I love talking over beats. Where are they? I gotta talk shit. I'm sorry. To the engineers. I'm sorry.
No, I'm laughing at the comment. They're like, it's the Tiff versus Tiff show.
Yeah.
Sprung
Hey,
versus being a sex addict.
this show
I'm
about to
dying.
be crazy right now. I promise you. Listen, you know what I do before it goes down in terms of topic. I've got to promote businesses. Listen, I got this young partner on the phone right now. I fucks with this young dude, man. He gives me hope because he's smart. He's traveling all over the country, lecturing. This dude is like 23.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah, I fuck with him, man. Like, listen, man. When I see some shit like that, it be young cats like out here, conscious, trying to learn, trying to grow, trying to teach some folks. I be like, man, whatever I could do to make it right, I'm gonna make it right. Young Pharaoh is on the phone right now. Young Pharaoh, welcome to the Voice of Reason. What's up, bro? Yay! Hey, man, tell everybody where you gonna be at, bro. Sounds like it's about to be right. Man, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you for calling in. Everybody, please go support the brother, Young Pharaoh. He's going to be in Vegas doing an event that breaks down the astrological origins of the Bible. This is a smart cat, man. This is a smart cat. It's going to be fire. I can't wait until it goes down, man. All right, thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro. All right, now, thank you, bro. Peace.
That's right.
Again, I like promoting people. Hey, I heard somebody said they couldn't hear him. That's what I heard. And you know, my YouTube people, they got to hear too. They said, turn up the volume. Somebody said Tiffany is the point guard tonight.
Oh, shit.
They
Oh,
already on your head about
They
this
are.
topic.
They already know.
But they're not ready. I promise you. They're not
Oh,
ready.
shit.
I need to make sure my callers is cracking, guys. I need to make sure it's on and popping. I hear my beats. I need to make sure the callers are cracking. I need to make sure it's happening in full effect. Alright? We're going to get some callers, man. Alright. I got a couple of things to promote. I ain't even going to lie. I've been a little bit low-key. I just been ODing on Total Package Energy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that stuff.
I just been working. I've been working hard. Editing the book.
All right.
Okay.
Man, the book though. Editing the book has been crazy. So I've been working on that. Then, you know, I'm traveling. I got to go check on my kid.
Right.
That's right.
Having a basketball banquet.
Okay.
You know, so you know he gonna be suited and booted, haircut, looking like a grown man.
That's right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So you know, I gotta go up there and support the kid. You know, gotta go support him.
Right. That part.
You know, I love going on campus. I can't even front.
It's
You
from
know.
the energy.
No, I just love the effect I have on the coaches.
That's
Ah.
right. That's
They
right.
be like, this nigga here. Oh,
Again, they're probably not that used to seeing active, involved, hands-on, educated black male fathers.
they be like, we gotta, we know we
Got
gotta,
to.
you know we gotta talk to him.
Right.
It's not like he just gonna be up here quiet. I'm gonna be
Right.
like, oh, what? Come here, let me holler at you.
Right.
What the fuck is going on? Woo, woo, wah, woo, woo. Oh, well, Mr. Williams, well, you know, yeah, nigga, cause you know. Woo. And I be talking to them like they niggas off the street. Like, listen here, my nigga, like, for
Right.
real.
Right.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. That's the dialogue in my head. But I gotta go support the kid.
Right.
My daughter is playing basketball.
That's
Right.
good.
Senior year.
All right, doing
Fuck. That shit
Ballin'.
hurts. Senior year.
it. Growing up.
For your daughter. Like, senior year for your son is different. Like, my nigga, it's about to go. No.
Your daughter like, oh shit, she about to be in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? You've done a good job, I'm sure,
Yes.
at
I have.
giving examples, direction, help, and advice.
I think so. I think, you know, one day she just told me straight up. She was like, get ready.
Oh.
Just get ready. I'm not a little girl, daddy. Get ready. I said,
Adorable.
I was like, you are a little girl. That's why you said daddy. If you was a big girl, you would have said father or something weird.
I never said father.
Yeah.
I always
I
say
just-
daddy.
I just
Well,
had to
mine's
try
my
to win.
stepdad, so I call him my papa.
See, I just had to try to win the argument.
Right.
You're so
right.
rude.
Because
I
my
want-
daddy's daddy.
Right?
You understand?
Right.
So that's crazy. She's varsity basketball too.
Mm-hmm.
So she got games and all types of shit. So I need total package energy.
Yes.
Me too.
with all of the bullshit I'm doing.
Oh, wait, do you not have one? I have one.
today. You got one? Who got one?
I got a gang of them.
Ooh, you got one. Okay, you guys,
Wait,
this is
I'm
a
always
commercial.
fighting that.
I
I need
need
some.
this, okay?
Right?
You tired, Mimi?
I'm tired, and this is gonna change my day.
Yes, it is.
Nah, it's a real situation,
Yeah,
man.
I'm gonna need to get my hands on that because I am constantly fighting a nap.
You're a nap fighter?
Loser.
I
Those
am
are
fighting a
losers.
nap right now.
I promise you, this will KO a nap. You can believe that.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it's better than all of that stuff. And I'm telling people to go get 2 cases.
Yes.
I mean, 1 case is what, less than $30?
Mhm.
Get 2 cases.
And it gets there fast. Like mine was for 3 days.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I think
Mine's
I
like
do
3 or
need
4
that
days.
'cause-
Yeah.
Total package energy.
I need that.
Hey man,
Yeah.
turn up my
Friday came
microphone. What's
too
cracking? Why I need to sound crispy.
Crispy.
I need to testing 1, 2. Give me something. Testing 1, 2.
Okay.
Welcome to the Negro Hour.
Oh wow.
The voice of reason on Dash Talk Radio. No, I love it though. It's good. Ain't no drugs in it.
Right.
People when I say I'm addicted to it, I ain't addicted to no drugs. There's no drugs in it, damn it.
No.
Jesus. Now that that's promoted, Total Package Energy. Also go get you, people keep asking, do I not do a good enough job of promoting this?
Not at all. You haven't mentioned it in like a week or 2.
Is that what it is?
Mhm.
Okay. So it is me.
Yeah, I was gonna remind you on Wednesday.
Because sometimes I get a little annoyed, like, because people be hitting me like, where can I get a copy of the book? And I be like, I know I covered this. But maybe not.
You didn't.
You talk more about the new book.
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm just excited about the new one.
As
Yeah,
you should be,
you
but
should
they're
be.
not going to get the new book. They're not going to even grasp some of the concepts. I
Really?
don't
If they
think
don't read the first
yeah,
one.
because if
Okay.
they're not used to reading how intellectual you can be, they're going to be like overwhelmed with the new book.
You think so?
Yeah.
So I'm fucking up.
But you know what? You should just advertise.
Just put it out there.
Like a package, like
Or-
buy this one and pre-order the second one.
Or, yeah, when you advertise it, always advertise the first one first. Tell them they need to get it before the other one comes out.
Right.
So then they'll be prepared. They'll be a good student.
ready
They
for the
will learn
sequel.
for Zoe's University.
I can't.
Yes.
I can smoke an entire bag of
Absolutely.
that. Because I be bullshit.
Yeah, that's how you
Yes.
gotta do that.
Mhm.
And you know who was the one who told me this originally?
Your daughter, right?
Yeah, she was
She's
like,
you don't self-promote enough, Dad.
she was like, you talk about other people. I was like, oh, okay. Like, she said, let me be your PR. I was like, no, little one. Like, I'll make you some money, nigga. I don't know what you got. I'm just,
And
I was
she
gonna say,
could.
She probably could.
right. The relationship dismount. How to stick the landing when exiting a toxic relationship. If you want to get a physical copy,
Mhm.
you have to order it from me directly, from my website, iamzowilliams.com. Click books, and as Mimi just instructed, order this one and pre-order the other one.
Yes.
Listen to Mimi.
Yes. Order yours today. You need to order this one right away. Then that way you're in preparation for the following book.
Man, this is some craziness. And I'm the type of person where I gotta go back and read my own shit because I'll
Right.
forget like what I was talking about.
Right.
Oh, shoot, because I know you got so much information.
It's just going on,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But I read some of it the other day. I was like, nigga, you did all right.
Like, I know what I'm talking
This
about.
shit,
Right.
nigga, you.
I've done that
Really?
same stuff, read like old papers from grad school, like, oh shit, I really know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Don't
That's
you feel
why.
smart?
Right.
Yes.
And I like telling the truth about shit too. I think I did a poor job naming this book.
Really, I think it's
I think
Good.
it's.
I thought I was clever, but what I find is people in a good relationship are scared to read it.
oh true
Oh,
because there's tidbits
They
in there for
think-
people in a relationship.
Yes, they think, oh, this is gonna break me up.
Right.
No.
Right.
It gives you insight.
Right.
Yes.
And what I say is this is the proverbial relationship apple.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Read this book is, An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
That's
I think if you read this book, it will help keep the breakup away.
Mhm.
Yes.
And how I frame this book, it's a breakup, makeup, wake up book.
Yes.
That's right.
It's a workbook. Like there's exercises. So, all right, I'll do a better job naming the book the next time. I don't know. So that's that. Black Power Awards rapidly approaching. I think I'm gonna wear all red.
Okay.
You said this.
Flame.
The all red suit you got made.
Flame.
The
Yeah.
tailor-made all red. Just come in on
Yeah.
some old Lucifer.
Oh shit.
The nigga on the hot sauce bottle.
Oh,
Not what my brain was thinking at all. But,
no, you're supposed to be looking like hot and like fire.
Well, okay, give me a better example than an all red. What's a better example?
I think
I
hot like
think
fire
Lucifer
because you
was a
got
fair
the.
example.
What is
I
it?
think Lucifer was a fair
I
example.
thought Lucifer was good.
Lucifer was a fair example.
Oh.
I'm thinking like Suge Knight though, and I'm like,
I was gonna say, please explain.
You know,
Oh,
my-
so, listen, hold on. Niggas is
What?
buying Arlene bottles of Total Package Energy.
Hey,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Go on
We
and get
are-
them bottles, girl.
We are
Bottles.
10,000, just donated $5. He says, Zoe, give Arlene one of the magic bottles of Total Package Energy.
Right, so she can
Thank
have one.
you.
This
I
nigga purchased
appreciate
this
that.
for you.
I
Ah.
appreciate that.
Wow.
We are 10,000.
Can I? We are
You got my
10,000.
love for that. Thank
Don't
you.
do
That's
that,
right,
because he
that's
gonna
right.
now he gonna be like,
Right. That's right.
All right.
Good looking out.
Jesus
Pharaoh.
Christ.
Pharaoh.
All right. I'm kind of wondering, are
Okay.
y'all ready for today's topic?
I don't think we're ready for today's topic.
I mean, you already know how I get down. I like pushing the envelope. This topic was supposed to be Wednesday's topic. But then Wednesday's topic, that was a powerful show.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it.
Oh.
It was good.
Damn. Manhandled.
Groped.
Talking about men, how to date a man who's been sexually abused.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeesh. That was heavy. And that dude who called in at the end of the show,
Yeah.
wowzer. Okay.
Right. Well, at least he faced his the reality that's happening with him, and that helped him. You
Right.
know, remember the other guy who called in and he was like, "Am I gonna marry a man, a woman?" Remember that?
Oh,
Oh, it's
yeah.
my wife's gonna be a woman.
Or whatever,
Yes.
it was. It was
Right.
something like that.
I was like, wait, did you say if your wife?
That's what he said.
Exactly. I'm like,
Wait.
what?
I'm confused.
Right. So at least like I like when someone just keeps it real. Like this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. Because that other dude
Yeah.
didn't really keep it real. He kind of changed.
Well, and that's the thing. You can't address anything if you're not open and honest and real about it.
Right. You
Wow.
gotta recognize your own demons. The man in the mirror.
Yes.
Well, today's topic, oh Jesus. I mean, I just surprise myself sometimes.
They're all convinced I came up with this, and I'm like, this is really Zoe. Zoe did this. I think Zoe was waiting for me to bring it to him, but I was like, nah, I'll wait.
No, I came up with this idea last week. I was in the car talking to my homeboy who was complaining about his girl. And the conversation centered around the concept of act right.
Ah.
When you put that act right on her,
Right.
she usually come back in line.
Right. Right.
So, get her sprung.
You know what that is. Ladies know what act right is.
Right.
Yeah.
You put the magic act right on her, she calm down.
Right.
A good sticking changes the whole situation sometimes.
Yeah.
So he's a rapper, so he's thinking of concepts of rapping and shit. And I was like, yo, you know what would be a great idea for a song? I said, you heard of the Stockholm Syndrome? He was like, yeah, nigga. I said, you know what it is? Feelings of trust or affection felt in certain cases of kidnapping or hostages. The kidnapped person, the hostage starts to, have feelings for their captor.
Yep.
I said, what you gotta do for your girl is put Cockholm syndrome on her.
Not Cockholm.
Not Stockholm, but Cockholm.
That's so crazy.
Run that cock home.
So we're about to hear a song now. It's about to be like the Cockholm syndrome.
Cockholm
Like,
syndrome.
nah.
You got to get her sprung.
Oh,
Right.
goodness.
Right.
But then, as I start to think about the topic, I was like, wait a minute, this is about to get even deeper. Because now I have to ask the question, what's the difference between being sexually addicted to a person, aka being sprung, and actually being a sex addict? And there has to be like a fine line, a gray area. Because I'm hearing from some people, I done made a few phone calls, and Tiff, you're going to have to help me navigate me through this. But some people been telling me that sex addiction, the actual clinical diagnosis, is like alcohol addiction.
Yeah, so first, there is actually no, like, the DSM Diagnostic Statistic Manual, there is no actual sex addiction classification. So if one is to actually diagnose you and want to treat you and maybe like use your insurance to bill for it, they actually have to diagnose you with a substance abuse. Like
Wait a minute.
diagnosis NOS, which is not otherwise specified. And then in your treatment plan, your not otherwise specified substance is sex. And they literally will break down your addiction, your triggers, you know, your impulses, your preferences in regards to sex versus whatever your preferred, you know, chemical is.
Cockholm syndrome. It's real.
It's very real. It's an addictive personality. And that's what you're addicted to. So yeah, it is treated like you said, like how they do with a drug addiction and how they do with any other type of addiction, because it's the feeling that you get from it.
Right.
So
and more so than just the feeling is, for something to be an addiction, it has to be maladaptive, which means something that was previously pleasurable or served, you know, a positive, beneficial purpose is now become negative in different aspects of your life.
And it's interfering with your ability to perform in your everyday life. It's interfering with how you do your life. When something starts to do that, then it is considered addictive.
So when you say interfering with your life, like you can't get up and go to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's 4 major areas for something to be addictive. One is if it's affecting your ability to go to work or school. If it interferes legally, like you get arrested or something like that. If you experience withdrawal. And then if compulsivity, if you're unable to stop when you try.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Before we even get into the clinical side of it, you know I have questions.
Of course.
Right? I love the questions.
They're good questions.
They are.
You know, I put in a lot of work on these questions. I need to know from all 3 of you, have you ever been sprung?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Call us, 323-230-4610 with your sprung story. I need to know, have you ever been sprung, and can you possibly, because you know it's very difficult to articulate how somebody makes you feel sexually. It's hard to put it in words.
Oh my God,
Have you 3 been stung by the magic stick? I want to hear stories. Call us, 323-230-4610. We're going to start in studio with Mimi. Somebody put you on, girl.
Yeah, I was super sprung, like so sprung. I mean, I think he hit it in a way that it just hadn't been hit before. My shit was like, damn, I never seen this here before. I need to hold on to this, right? And all I could do was think about it. I could be at work, filing, and I think of that dick. I could be driving down the street, I think of that dick. I mean, I'm calling, I can't get enough of it, you feel me? And it's like, you could blindfold me. If that dick walked by here, my shit would be pulsating or something. Like, it really had a connection with the dick. When they have a connection, like they really know each other and they into each other, oh yeah. Pulsating happens, you know what I mean? Other people could try to even let's say if someone tries to get with you or something, you're not thinking about them, you're thinking about who makes you pulsate. I mean, that's a different part of the game. Because no one else really can feel that urge. That's like that's a specific urge. That's not like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, this is the one I want. Yeah, I can go touch myself. That don't do it. Nothing will do it when you have that type of urge. But the person that's attached to that penis.
Right.
Wow. So I'm gonna go to all the sisters here, but I have another question based off of what Mimi just said. So are you telling me being sprung is associated with one person, whereas being an addict might not be person specific?
Right. An addict will want sex with anybody. Like, as soon as they see something they want to check it out. It's almost like, oh, I want to test drive that ride.
It's
you know
a
what I mean?
compulsion.
You may not want to take it home or nothing. You want to just test drive. You don't want to lease it. You don't want to buy it. Now, you might find one you want to lease and keep it, but you're going to still keep one. You have that addiction. So you're just picking up, you know, dicks and people as you go along. So that's a different part of the game, because that's what makes that person feel good. You know what I'm saying? They're enjoying that part. So it's really different being sprung and then being addictive.
Interesting. Hey, Tiffany. Well, you need to go deeper. Everybody wants to know, because you're a survivor of, can you call yourself a survivor?
I say I'm in recovery.
In recovery.
I'm in recovery. Yeah.
Right? From sex addiction.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Before you were addicted, have you ever been sprung?
Oh, before I was addicted?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. Like,
Talk
I had
to
good
me.
sex, but I wasn't, like, sprung. I definitely was not, I was not sprung before the addiction happened. I just so happened to find the sprung while I was in, like, full addictive, like,
Wait.
capacity.
You can be sprung and addicted?
Yeah, that's how you
This
marry.
shit's going- wow.
Whoa! So I explain, like, the difference for me between being sprung and, like, being being a sex addict. With sex addicts actually very broad, because it includes porn and, masturbation and just all sorts of things. So it's, like, such a wide variety of things. But, like, the difference for me is saying, like, if you're an addict and you don't have a preferred drug, you just use everything, versus if, like, you have a preferential drug. Like, I just do heroin, right? So you're like, I just do so-and-so. Like, they really have, being sprung, they have really similar characteristics. Like, Mimi is saying, like, you'll experience withdrawal from that sprung person. You'd be like, you're going to be yearning for that one. Like, and it's insatiable. It's like, no matter how much you get it, you want more of it.
Right.
And that would be the part, I and my bestie actually have a similar issue. Like, part of also sex addiction is, if you want to do it, even if there's a physical, like, barrier or, like, a physical reason you shouldn't. So for us, it'd be like, your dick might be raw, but that's not going to stop me from wanting to fuck you.
What?
Like, you could actually be like, oh, bitch, it hurts. I'd be like, I don't care. I want it. Like, you'd be like, it's dry, lubrication. Like, nothing will stop you. Like, it's insatiable. You're like, I want it more.
And on the record, you've never been sprung.
No, I have been sprung 2 times ever.
So you have been sprung.
But they've been during my addiction. Like,
How
when
do
I
you
was
know the
full.
difference? I'm confused.
Oh, good point. Like, that's like when a drug addict realizes their preferential drug.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Sure. You just not on the air, but Jesus.
Yeah,
you got to get on the air.
Right. Come on now.
From the drug addict perspective.
Yeah.
No, this guy,
he has
he's
good
in recovery too.
Shout out to all my niggas out there in NA and
He
AA. Shout out to my crackheads currently walking Hollywood Boulevard right now.
is out here wilding, man. Our intern. Go ahead and speak on the recovery process.
You said, all right, you were comparing, like, it's interesting. I've never really been able to think about it, because, like, as an addict, it's hard to be like, when were you addicted to drugs? Because most of the people who end up getting addicted to drugs fucked around with drugs long before they were addicted to drugs.
Right.
But
Exactly.
like I definitely feel like I was sprung off certain drugs. Like, I was like, this shit is the truth. And then I'd be like, oh no, like, I don't want to be heroin sick. Like,
Oh,
like,
I see.
oh no, and like then you finally kind of find your one thing, I guess, or you don't. Like, you're in it for the long run either way. But
Wow.
I think you could definitely be sprung off drugs and not addicted. Like, you see people who have drug problems as opposed to people who have entire lifestyles.
Please go
Yeah.
deeper into the distinction. That's so important.
Yes.
Give us scenarios and examples.
You can be
Yes.
going through a phase in your life, you know what I'm saying, where, like, you're drinking too much, and you cannot be an alcoholic.
Right.
And not be an alcoholic.
Yeah,
exactly.
Got
you
it.
can go through a phase in your life where you're drinking too much. You know, like Tiffany said, there's like a literal fucking test.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a sheet that like that applies for all addictions.
Mm-hmm.
That like I'm not saying, my nigga, you if you fill out the shit and it's like you don't have an addiction, then you might not be addicted. Obviously, it's not black and white like that.
Mhm.
But like, if you don't qualify, chances are
You're not.
You might want to consider the fact that you might not
Right.
be one of these 12-step programs.
Right.
Right. This is
Yeah.
big. Now let me go even deeper. I guess. You could be jacking off too much
Right.
and not be
All right.
a sex addict.
Yeah.
Okay, but like the other thing it gets complicated about like
Cause that's my problem. No, I'm just kidding.
but, like
You're not kidding. Okay.
sex addicts, like, no offense, sex addicts have it like easier than drug addicts in a sense because most drug addicts end up being sex addicts too.
No, I was
anyways.
gonna say that sex addiction is the
whereas,
number
like,
one.
When
like,
you take out like sex
side
from
effect.
like somebody's lifestyle, like they're not like dope, nigga, crack. Like,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like they generally start looking for thrills. Like they do like white boy shit, like jump out of airplanes and shit like that. You know what I mean? But,
So
like,
now there's this emotional endorphin
Yeah.
chemical kind of payoff, the pursuit of
Whereas
it.
like with us, like that's why when we go to rehab and shit like that, or I'm saying that us like drug addicts, like black people and shit like that. But to be honest, I guess it is kind of like that.
Right.
When you go to treatment, they don't let you fuck people and shit like that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I was in treatment last year. I was fucking all sorts of people, but
Yeah.
damn it.
But there's a reason, right?
But there's
because
a
sex
reason.
addiction and love addiction are
People
like
just transplant that
secondary.
shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like instantly, you know what I mean? Like if you take drugs away from a drug addict, number one things, and I was in Palm Springs, like the number one thing like that you got to look out is people fucking each other, especially gay dudes, because Palm Springs is wild, crazy for like the
What?
mad
Yeah.
Yomo orgies, my nigga. But
It's going down like that.
Yes.
and I'm not homophobic at all. You know, shout out to all my LGBTQT
Hey.
niggas. but that's what it is. Like I had a friend in the program. This nigga was gay, right? This nigga's like stole another person's car and went on like a 5-day meth binge and was like at like brothels and shit like that.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there's one of the reasons, again, I work at a recovery center, and we request or require, that you refrain from and abstain also from sex during the time of specifically detox and the first 3 months of recovery, because sex addiction actually is the number one secondary addiction to coming out of substance abuse because of the compulsive behavior.
Yeah.
Also because socially we've kind of taught that it's a little more acceptable. So a lot of chemical addiction, substance abuse addicts don't even recognize they're replacing the behavior. And so it's like,
They'll be
it's
at the
really hard
casino
to
losing
attack
all
it.
their money. Like,
Yeah.
damn,
I don't
what's
have a
happening to my
gambling problem.
$5?
Yeah.
Really?
Not that
Yeah.
ass, bro. But that's all I wanted to ask.
Gosh,
Yeah,
no,
so
that was
there's
good
some-
information.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the number one thing I hear a lot, and that's why I wanted to have the conversation. I was so excited to hear it because all the time I hear people say like, oh, it's just you a hoe. There's very much a difference between having high libido and having like a high sex drive and being highly promiscuous and having an actual sex addiction.
Right.
And so when people come to me and say that, they kind of feel good. Like, I think I have a sex addiction. I'm like, I can ask you 3 questions and tell you if you are or not.
What are the 3 questions?
So I asked them, I was like, if I told you had to stop today for 10 days, could you? If they say yes, I'm like, not an
If
addict.
you could stop fucking?
For 10 days.
Oh, that's easy.
Masturbating too?
Yeah, no.
But not for
For an addict,
For an addict, like, I can't do it, nigga. I need that pussy. When that pussy had, nigga, I did it.
well, because I admitted, like, at one point I was in relapse during the divorce, and I had to, like, really be, like, cognizant of what that looked like for me, because, again, my sex addiction very much does not look like whatever stereotype people put in their brain of what sex addiction looks like, right? So when I say relapse, like, I'm not talking about, like, oh, I'm just fucking every dude who comes by and blah, 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 knocking down people like that. But for me, I knew what relapse looked like for me, and I was like, oh, shit, okay, let's check it. But for me, honestly, outside of, like, being out of town for family stuff or something like that, like, I have yet to go longer than 6 days in the last 8 months.
So, hold on. You can't go more than a week.
I can because I'm in recovery.
Okay.
But, like, for most addicts, to detox is anywhere between 3 and 14 days, depending on what the chemical is and how the severity of the use. And for some people, you have to use drugs to get you off of your drugs, right?
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
hey, whoa, Arlene, talk to me, and then I want you in here too. They calling you Maxwell. They call. they going in right now. They going in. But
Nigga, I'm not Arabic.
it's all right. It's too late now. Just come on in. Arlene, what kind of drugs do they prescribe?
They usually prescribe drugs, oh man, there's so many different types of drugs that they can prescribe for it because
Neurotropics, the shit that change
Yeah,
brains?
all
they're
Schedule
all,
3.
they're all Schedule 3 neurological
Oh,
drugs. Because the
shit.
thing is that when you have an addiction, the wiring of your brain sensors changes.
Mhm.
The pleasure sensors change.
Right.
So what they're doing is they give you drugs to kind of help.
Well, they're called
Kind of-
neurotransmitter
yeah,
blockers, like
yes.
beta blockers. So
Yeah.
they're blocking like a lot of your compulsive behavior,
Exactly.
impulsive.
Exactly. So that way it helps you to control your urges a little bit better, and that's with all drugs.
They make you feel less crazy.
They
do.
make what?
They make you feel less crazy.
You
Yeah.
gotta talk about it.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't hear that.
detox can be painful.
No,
Really?
not can be. It
Detox
will
is
be.
Yeah.
always
It's
painful.
always
If
painful.
you're
Yeah.
a real addict, like
Yeah.
detox, if you're not going through detox and withdrawals,
You're not
Then
addicted.
you're not
Right.
you're not addicted.
You're not
You just in here wasting motherfuckers' time.
Yeah.
Right.
You have a problem, like I said, you have a problem. You could be going through a phase, you know what I mean? Like, you drank too much, you got raped, you have a problem, you know what I mean? Like, I know all sorts of girls who get in the program through, like, some crazy sexual trauma that happened through their drinking or some shit like that, and end up, you know, like, they're drinking now. Like, they work jobs and
Right.
shit. They're not on the streets like I was, like,
Right.
at all. But detox from alcohol, number one, is lethal and
Yes.
fatal.
Mm-hmm.
Like more than not often. So
Yeah.
like they put you on anticonvulsants,
Yes.
so you
Yes.
don't have a fucking seizure,
Yeah.
which aren't no.
Mhm.
Ketamine, methadone, or just
Methadone.
other things they put you on
Those
for,
are-
other,
yeah.
for
Yes.
other chemicals.
Those are like
Yes.
those are for like heroin, opiate
Yeah.
mates and
Oh,
stuff
yes.
like that. But opiate withdrawal isn't actually lethal. It's just
No.
really painful.
Alcohol
Yeah.
is really the most
Alcohol is the most
dangerous.
dangerous.
So
Yes.
this is what's so crazy, because a lot of people don't even think that sex could lead you down this road.
But see,
But this is what I want to ask all of you really quickly, starting with Arlene. What are some of the causes? Like, I could understand, alcoholism. Like, your daddy was a drunk, your mama was a drunk, your grandfather was the drunkest in your family, nigga. You's a drunk. But does it work the same way with sex addiction?
in a way, it does.
Your mama was a hoe.
Now you're bringing up the whole idea of nature versus nurture.
Right.
So, and the thing about nature versus nurture is that it can go both ways depending on the case. And some of it is a combination. So if you grew up and you have a family of alcoholics, yes, your family might have a propensity towards having an addictive behavior, addictive personality. However, because you've seen them being an alcoholic, you've normalized that behavior. So now that can become your addiction of choice.
Right.
But the thing is what you're talking about is addictive personality. It's an addictive personality disorder. So what it is that it's what the addiction calls to. It's what gives you that feeling. So if you are a person who is using sex sex is your addiction, you have an addictive personality. Straight up.
Wow.
That's what your main problem is. You have an addictive personality. The sex is the way you're dealing with it. That's why when Tiffany was saying that sex addiction is the second thing that people normally go to when they're leaving a drug or alcohol addiction, because it is a more acceptable way to get that high without it being drugs.
So it's like diet drugs.
In a way, because the thing is like
Sex.
if you look at a lot of people, like
Interesting.
look at some of the most successful people business wise, they have addictive personalities. However, their addiction is something that is considered socially acceptable. But they still have the same type of personality as that drug addict on the street.
They're just
It's
compulsive
just-
about business. or
Exactly.
compulsive about
It's just that what they're
compulsive.
compulsive about is considered productive.
And it can make
Right.
money, so people just see it as as
Exactly.
extremely
But
passionate
it's-
people.
it
but
can
it's,
be the
you know,
exact
the
same
type of nigga that like.
You know we can't hear you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Why
just
would you
terrible,
do
nigga.
it?
He just, you know what's crazy about bruh? Maurice just starts talking. Yeah, because you know, then what happened was that motherfucker did, and then he like, no, he ain't even got a microphone. Okay, go ahead. Say it again.
I mean, like, I forgot. You know me?
Oh,
we
shit.
gonna
Go to the
help
line.
you.
That's all right.
We got a call.
Go to the caller. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name? Where you calling from? Speak on it. Caller?
Oh no.
Where you
Oh,
at?
they fronting. You know, some people just call in so they can listen.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really weird. But you know what? This is one of those touchy subjects too, because there's a lot of people who ruin their lives over dick.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
a lot.
the sprung thing, let me see. I was sprung before.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I don't fuck with Pisces.
Oh, you're so
Oh,
funny. You get one strong Pisces, now you can't fuck with Pisces. no more.
Right.
I see
Well, look,
you.
crazy as angel dust.
Uh-oh.
But that pussy was fine. God damn.
Oh my gosh.
Just imagine snowflakes and pudding.
Snowflakes.
Snowflakes and
Snowflake.
I mean, Christmas time. just everything delicious. That pussy was butter. You understand me? Like somebody grandmama churned it in a barn. That pussy
Oh my
was
goodness.
clarified butter.
Oh my goodness.
So there was a
Ooh.
comment or a question in there, so?
I'm just saying, I was
I know,
sprung.
we're just kind of like, okay.
I'm just saying, I was sprung at one
So it can
time.
even
That's
happen to the
right.
God, is what you're saying.
It can.
Right.
Ah.
It can happen to the God in the flesh.
I had to slap the shit out of my soul. Like,
Oh
motherfucker,
my gosh.
wake up, nigga. Oh,
Right.
woo. Shit. When was the last time you were sprung? Somebody call us right now. 323-230-4610. Or are you struggling with sex addiction? We have some experts in the building. People don't know Arlene's an expert. Why don't you give us a little bit of your resume so people, you know, people want to talk to your ass anyway.
Right.
Yes.
It's fine.
I studied psychology in school with a minor in law, and then I got my master's in counseling with a focus on drug and alcohol addiction.
See, so
Yeah.
she know what the fuck she talking
That's
about.
right. That's
God damn it,
right.
I don't be bringing stupid people in here. Y'all know how I get down. It's
Right.
dumb motherfuckers can't even get on the microphone, God damn it.
Right. Spread out.
Unless it's comedy.
Oh,
Right.
Right.
I'll let funny people come on.
Right.
And you can say the dumbest shit in the world if you're a comedian. I
As long
guess.
as it's funny,
yeah,
right.
Right.
We have
It's
all
funny.
kinds of interesting
But
stuff.
what's funny is you don't let dumb comedians come in, though.
That's
No.
true.
Like, you actually have some pretty smart, intelligent,
That's right.
I
great
agree.
comedians.
You don't like people you can't have a conversation with.
Amen.
Though.
I really
So
don't.
Anybody who comes in here, you have to be able to have an intelligent conversation.
It's true. I mean, it's prerequisite.
Yes.
I'm not going to be maintaining your slow mind.
Right.
Was that wrong? I should've-
No, that's
Was that-
fine.
Sometimes I'll be talking like the mic is off. Like, okay, cool. My bad.
Right. That part.
But I ain't gonna lie, that Piscean pussy. I've been sprung a few times, I think. Let me see, there was some Virgo pussy that was ridiculous. There was some Scorpio pussy. That Scorpio pussy, nigga. God damn.
Oh my gosh.
Here.
Lord have mercy. Jesus. That Scorpio pussy. Listen, Scorpio pussy is like this beautiful, dark hole
Wait.
with no bottom. And
No
you're
bottom.
just falling in bliss.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, I remember story time with Zell. Here we go.
All right.
I remember I was dating this Laker girl
We've heard about
I
this
was
girl
about to say,
before.
Oh,
it's the
yeah,
same
you like
girl.
this
We
one.
like, yeah,
I
we
never
heard
heard
about
about
her.
this girl.
She was a Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Making free games and pussy? Who's going to turn that down in
Nobody.
their 20s?
Right.
Please give me that offer right now. I
Jesus
would
Christ.
Where's she at?
Right.
But I don't want to put too much out there, but she
You always do
suffered from something. I think it was like premature menopause or something.
Oh, that sucks. That's
so she
horrendous.
couldn't get pregnant.
Oh, well, that's a quality problem.
Right.
Don't let me have that problem.
You was having a
Lord.
blast.
You hear me?
So what you saying is I can just
Right.
be in here.
On the Scorpio nasty blast off side of the
Black
Oh!
hole. Black
I
hole.
cannot with you today.
Oh!
We was gonna be
All
like
dogs
intellectual
know.
about it.
Right.
Talking about
Yeah,
speeding off in the dark hole of endless bliss.
Right?
When that shit fell out, I was mad. I was like, damn it! That pussy out my life. I was pissed off.
Hilarious.
I done had some
Lord.
fire Virgo cooter that was hard to shake.
Hey, it is what it is.
I was somewhere scratching like, shit.
I will actually admit, there's only two people I've ever been sprung on my whole life. One is never going to be back in my life again, so that's not a problem. But actually, one of these people, I hope to God he's not listening right now. I did send him the link. I was like, oh, geez.
What'd you do?
But just came back in my life, not that like 2 months ago, and
This
we
nigga
have not been sexual. Probably for this reason, I'm like, I am in recovery. I'm focused on my career right now, like, and I literally was like, I'm just so thankful, like, this person is out of state. He's not in proximity to me, but yeah, this is only two people in my life have I ever been sprung on, and I'm like, I don't know. I was just telling my best friend, I'm like, I don't know if maybe we should just be friends who don't ever have sex again, because I don't know, like, if I can afford to, like, even taste it again. I'm like, you know, my recovery is already a little rocky as it is. Like, let me just stay where I'm at in my lane. But yeah, like, that's how you know, like, it's,
Let me ask this question before I go to the caller. For a sex addict, does fucking have some of the same, I guess, effects that someone who is smoking something or drinking something? Do you get the slurry mouth after you?
I would say if the dosage is right, like if it was done
dick dosage.
right,
Uh-oh.
yes. Mine comes from two things. The compulsivity, obviously, I actually come from a family with addiction issues, so chemical and sex addiction background. So that's where, like, part of it's hereditary, part of it's behavioral. You know, sexual abuse survivor, all of those things. Like, okay, that we saw this coming. But with that being said, I use sex for two reasons, and why it's so hard for me as in my addiction and in my recovery is for anxiety. So I'm also a survivor of anxiety, and sleep. Because part of being an entrepreneur, part of being a dreamer, part of being like an overachiever that I've always been is sleeping. So I use like good dick to go to sleep. So yeah, like a lot of people use drugs, like smoke weed to get you relax and go to bed. I use dick to go to sleep.
Dick being?
Yes.
Like Ambien?
Yes. Right? So if you did it
Dick
right,
being.
I go to sleep. But
Dick being.
like many addicts, if the dose isn't right and I didn't get it the way I wanted, or I didn't get the result I wanted, which is sleep, I'm gonna go for another dose.
Exactly.
Right? I'm gonna get another
because you're still needing that
right.
feeling.
They didn't lay you down right.
Right.
Yeah, it hasn't satisfied the need.
Come on, Maxwell, get back in here.
That's been like older. I didn't even know who Maxwell was before an older black lady started calling me Maxwell. I was born in '90, so like he was popping, but I didn't know who this nigga was. But
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I guess a lot of times where shit would go wrong would be like I would start drinking with people who weren't alcoholics, or start doing drugs with people who weren't drug addicts, and like You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, all right, let's go get some crack and keep this shit going. And they'd be like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like casual cocaine users. And it's like, oh, word. Like, I don't even conceptually understand that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point. Honestly, if you had told me, look, I have like this mediocre small amount of drugs, or you could not do drugs at all, and like that all I have is like what's barely gonna get you high, I would rather not do
Right.
drugs.
So that part too, like.
Yeah. I'd rather not go there at all, because like it's just a tease. Like,
Yes. 100%.
Unless I can pass the fuck out.
Yes.
So somebody called it Dickwool.
Hilarious.
To a point. So obviously, yes, I'm in recovery now. So like, obviously, I'm not fucking every day when I need to go to sleep. So I use other natural ways to go to sleep now.
Like?
Which is I diffuse lavender and I take melatonin, and then I drink like calming tea. So like, I have a whole ritual around like bed sleeping time.
So let me ask you this: devoid of drugs,
Yes.
can a practice like meditation and mindfulness?
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yes. Can we all talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
Because there's people out there right now that are scared to call in, that are listening. And of course, we add a little levity to the conversation because we know it's heavy on you. So, mindfulness, how does that affect, getting sober? Or how is that a ramp towards getting sober?
Well, for me, practicing mindfulness was a way to like get centered and be aware of like where the urge is, the compulsivity, and just being present. The more you're able to be present, the more you are able to like let go of the anxieties or the fears or because a lot of stuff is from anxiety and fear and stress of the world. So when you practice mindfulness and being here and aware, it starts the like self-awareness process for addiction. Like a lot of addicts don't even understand the addiction process and what addiction is or believe in it themselves.
Yeah.
So mindfulness gets you started right there to be like just awareness, being present.
Wow.
Not trying to, because a lot of addiction, it's like dulling, and once you stop using, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like it's painful.
I mean, you build your entire lifestyle around using this shit all day, every day. So like, I'm not a spiritual ass person. Like, I grew up hating church. That shit was mad boring to me. Like, fuck that. I'm trying to go play video games and skateboard. Like, my nigga, there's no Transformers at church. Who is this nigga?
This dude right here. He wild.
But no, really, like, it just didn't really do anything for me like that. I was like, I had connections with people and shit like that. I wanted to go out there and do shit in the real world. And like, my parents were always kind of on some like semi-religious shit. I didn't understand spirituality at all until I had to stop doing drugs. Because I finally understood that like I was spiritual. Like, my spiritual experience was fucking getting high every fucking day for 12 years. Like, that was my spiritual, like, drugs were my God.
Wow.
I didn't believe that I could exist without them. Literally, like, I always was supplanting some shit. Like, if I didn't have alcohol, I was taking Xanax. Like, fucking always on something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's really a hole that needs to be filled.
It's the same thing with
something.
sex. Yeah, any addiction is that same shit. Like, if you build your lifestyle around something and it's negative, when you fucking dismantle that shit, you're gonna have to fully dismantle it and build some new positive shit up in its place. And spirituality is a really, really good key to that shit. Now, mind you, I'm 2 days off smoking crack off Skid Row, my nigga, and you're talking to me about mindfulness. Like, fuck out of here. Like,
That's not gonna work. Right.
You gotta let niggas smoke cigarettes for a little bit and just chill. You know what I mean?
So it's like stepping down.
Yes.
Gradually stepping down.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I have all sorts of crazy gravestone tattoos, my nigga. You're not about to get me to meditate. Like, I'm living with a dude who has 3 teeth. You know what I mean? Like, rehab is like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then, like, 3 months later, you meet these dudes, and they're like, "Yo, my name is Daniel." Like,
Right.
Things have changed.
Right.
Yeah.
I found my inner being.
No, really, that's why I love the recovery center that I work at, because it's Buddhist based. So like, there's meditation and yoga. Like, meditation's built into the day. Like, you have 5 opportunities of scheduled meditation and yoga like 2-3 times a day. So like, the people in recovery, depending on what level you're at, you could be doing 1 hour or 5 hours of meditation, like, which is super dope. And we were talking about people like who've never been spiritual, people who are like, that are like, wow, the reason they're afraid to leave our treatment centers because they're like, I'm not gonna have that kind of support. I'm never gonna have access to like 5 hours of meditation again once I go back to work or whatever. So we talk about that, but I really love that aspect of the recovery center that I work for.
Dope. Listen, really quickly, I got a couple people to shout out. Antone P just dropped $50 on the super chat. I didn't get a chance to mention the super chat, but it's a little, feature on the YouTube for all channels that have, these large audiences like ours. It's a little button. It's the $ button. It's Friday, so I know you got paid. So,
Right,
but you guys gotta donate to the channel so we can keep the quality of the production up. Super chat. It's that little $ at the end of the chat room, at the bottom of the chat room. Just click it and donate. So a few, close to a couple hundred people in here. Please, please, please continue to donate. We have TRZA. What is that? Triza?
I don't be knowing people. I do not understand.
Triza. They donated $2. Can you OD on sex like you do heroin? That's a great question.
No.
The $2, the $2 question of the day. I can fuck with that.
I would say you can't OD on sex similar to like a chemical addiction,
Yeah.
but you can die during sexual activities. Like, people are
Yeah.
addicted to sexual asphyxiation.
Oh.
So some people like to be like choked or like, like S&M and
That's
stuff
how,
like that. So a lot of people, there have been celebrities that have died that way.
That's David
Yeah,
Carradine
David Carradine.
from Kung Fu.
And the thing is that you're also dealing with a twofold issue when you come to things like that, because people who have these adrenaline addictions in addition to a sexual addiction, a lot of times they tend to combine those things to get that high. That's where you get a person like a David Carradine who is, in his ultimate moment of having an orgasm, he's also trying to get that auto asphyxiation together, and it intensifies the high.
Right.
So the closer I get to death, the higher I get.
The more oxygen, so the more your oxygen is restricted, the higher your orgasm. So that's why some people like to be choked.
They choked, yeah. That's why
No
it's
comment.
very, but it's very.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes it way more intense. So,
Right, but some people when they do ecstasy and cocaine, they have a lot of sex. That actually increases their sex drive. They have a
Sometimes.
huge.
I mean, like,
some people,
honestly,
some
like,
people when they have
you do
sex.
enough cocaine.
One at a time. Go ahead, finish Mimi, and then Maxwell.
No, I was just saying that I know people who are in my life that are addicted to ecstasy, cocaine, and they love sex, though they include it together. I even know a couple that did this little thing where they started dating each other, like they were on a double date and they started doing these drugs, and then the boyfriend and the girlfriend left off, and then the other two became girlfriend and boyfriend off of these drugs. Like they just switched up. It's just some old different shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been checking each other out the whole time, and then finally, I don't know. That's weird though, huh?
That shit happens
crazy.
a lot in drug relationships.
Yeah,
That shit happens a lot in drug relationships.
Then finish your thought, and then I'm gonna come back and do a couple more shout outs real quick, and then we're gonna go to break. But finish your thought.
I mean, like a lot of times when people are like in relationships, like you meet couples who are addicted and like they have other friends who are addicted to drugs, right? Somebody gets clean, another one gets clean, and they start hanging out and like obviously start having sex, and it's just a survival method and shit like that. Like you're thicker with like the only way that you can really be out there. And even then, like I had a girlfriend who was stealing drugs from me. You're best off being addicted with your girl or with your lady. Like you're much worse off being addicted with your homie, because your homie's always trying to get higher than you are. And like you assume that like if you put your girl on it in the first place, she don't even know how to do that shit without you, my nigga. So you trapped her, right? So you have this partner in addiction that fucking not only but who's like I've had it to the point, not for me, but I've had it to the point where it's homies who like have girls who don't know how to shoot up, but they're addicted to shooting up. You feel me?
Wow.
That's the number one strategy with pimps. Like they'll get girls stuck on drugs that they don't know how to access or get themselves.
That's crazy. Really quickly, Tommy Anderson just dropped $10.
All right, man.
I gotta shout him out. The Battle of OKC just dropped $60.
All right.
We got a few little. I gotta make sure I say Sugar Crisp. Sugar Crisp. I love it.
I like that.
Sugar Crisp dropped $5 using the super chat. Please continue to use the super chat. It supports our network here. When I say our network, I'm talking about the Voice of Reason, our little channel we got going over here on YouTube. Let me see if there's a couple more people. What is this? Despot 5555 dropped $10. All right, I got Sugar Crisp. All right, we good. Listen, I'm going to take a quick break, but listen, when we take the break, let's just play these instrumentals, man. They're sounding great. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and then when we do that, we're going to go to the phone lines. The number to dial to participate in today's topic. I don't know if you heard it. I'll say it again. Stockholm syndrome. I'll be coming up with some wild, not Stockholm, Stockholm syndrome. A deeper look into the feeling of being held hostage in an unwanted relationship simply because the sex is great. God, you know how many people are in that situation? This nigga ain't shit, but he got that magic stick.
Right.
There's a lot of niggas out there who know how to pay rent with they dick. There's a lot of women out there accepting dick as currency.
True.
You know he ain't no good,
Right.
but you sprung off the hum.
Right.
Damn. Stockholm syndrome. I just like saying it. Fuck it. Stockholm syndrome, goddammit. That's what we're talking about. The number to dial is 323-230-4610. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in 2.2. The voice of reason. Nice.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't get a chance to spray my room down.
No? Oh, bummer.
Yeah, we had to rush in here.
Oh, baby.
Who's winning?
Cleveland, that dude, Rhoda.
Is Joelle on Facebook?
Joe?
Yeah. I'll text you right now. No, I do that too. I'd be like, Mimi
I do.
Show.
I always
Brandon
have
Zoe,
something in there
Brandon
like that.
Zoe.
Like I put everything I do, I need to know
You
where
have to
it
put a
is.
note how you know them and
Right.
I do that too. Right.
Like, not even like
And
weed
then I
nasty
confuse
though.
myself sometimes because I don't remember what I
Yeah,
did.
it's like mega nasty.
With the keyword.
Like weed nasty goes away. You can't smell weed nasty after 4 minutes. Weed nasty becomes quick normal.
Oh, love you, dude.
Oh, I'm tired. You know what it is? I'm tired because I really just ate a whole bunch of stuff right before I came.
Oh, so you just got the itis.
I do. I have the itis.
You're so crazy, baby. I thought I put people under some crazy shit. What the hell are you supposed to remember that?
So I cannot find, I swear I was looking for it and I'm like, so then I'm like, I put it under something weird, but I guess I put the right thing that was weird to find it. Alright, so I'm gonna change it.
Something you can
That was
remember.
funny.
But that's because I got your number like the first thing you're on the show.
Yeah,
I
I
probably
did
did
too.
that.
Huh?
Probably.
Couldn't remember.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Dude from the Bucks.
You know I know who the hell you are.
Hey! You just wanted to come in on the sex edition conversation, right?
Talk about Punani.
I see you.
And they gotta smell good for me. We didn't get a chance because my homeboy Andre smokes.
A lot.
So you come in here be weed-tastic.
It wasn't even, I was just saying that though. It wasn't weed bust, my nigga. That's nigga smell, bro. Like,
You know what?
Nah,
You know
nigga.
what?
That's my nigga though.
Niggas don't smell
Right, he
that
gonna
bad.
watch the show
We
later.
don't smell that
Y'all
bad.
smell it.
Facts.
Because they can hear this on the line.
Hopefully they can't hear that.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, they
Oh,
can.
really?
We're live.
Be careful. We live as hell already.
Oh my god.
Tone is like, so.
What's up, bro, man? What's good? How you doing?
I don't even know what this comment means. I'm actually
What up, though?
Hey, listen.
right here.
What up, though?
In the chat, talking about the people's elbow artistically and it works.
Hey, hold on. Let me see if I can get everybody.
I don't know. I'm actually
In my
really
shot.
People think that I'm corrupt and
I see some of it. My phone been tripping. I gotta go to another phone, so I can't see the chat. Only when I'm looking at
I
the
don't know if
got your shades on. You should.
So like, and my numbers way low. You know, people feel excited and they think like, oh yeah. But no, like I had a system to justify. Like,
I just got to make sure I got Arlene.
Much lower than most do. You know, even though I'm a sex addict. So I'm like, I'm okay with y'all.
Let me see.
You know, talk whenever she wants because it's like one less dude to have to worry about chasing down the street. I literally have someone right now fiending. I will show you the text. I'm a fiend for you. Haven't fucked. Only get ahead. Can't get him to leave me alone. Wow. And mind you, that was like one time.
Hey, yo. I gotta have YouTube support. I gotta have y'all hit that super chat. Y'all playing right now.
You have to a certain degree, you know?
There's too many people in here to not support this channel.
Right.
Super chat is that little $sign down at the bottom of the chat room. Can y'all hit that up in mass? Let's do it. All right, we're going to come back in 2.2 seconds. Give us 30 seconds, and then we'll come back.
Okay, 30 seconds. I said, I really need to go home and take a nap before I go to work, but I remember your show is on, and I'm like, what am I going to do now?
You're welcome to come up.
Conflicted.
You're welcome to come up. It's going to be tired today.
Look at my, look at
Look
that.
at the sunglasses, but you already know.
I'm going to set it up red light.
Mimi, look at you, looking all delicious.
Oh wait, I just sold 82 headphones.
You ready?
I heard you up in here.
Yep.
Talking about smoking crack with people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason has returned.
We don't
Hey,
mix our sex with crack.
if you just tuning in, I promise you, man, this is a hot topic. I've been able to focus in on content creation. Antonio Moore walked in. Tone Talks is about to happen at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
Pacific
I heard
Standard
this show
Time.
wild up in here. It's all kind of sex, drugs, and all kind of shit.
No, they were like, they saw you, Tone, and they're like, Tone gonna say bad economy won't permit addiction.
You can't afford fucking.
Oh my goodness.
Like
You come from slaves. You should not be fucking.
It smells like lavender and acid.
A lavender ass.
Oh my goodness. We're on the lavender side.
A lavender ass.
Yeah, that last show got it popping, huh?
Nah, but it's important that we have these type of conversations because, as is evidenced in our last show, you think, oh, Zoe just making up some wild comments or some wild topics or whatnot, but the reality of it is this stuff affects people across the country.
Right.
That young brother called in with his issue, you know what I'm saying? And his issue was a real issue.
Yes.
And we were covering it, and I believe that we gave that guy a bridge out of a situation. This is what I mean by a bridge out of a situation. Sometimes out of a situation, out of a thought process, out of a limiting belief, people need a little step ladder or a bridge to get out of a particular cycle.
Yes.
And when that guy called in, I felt like we helped him.
Right.
And so today's topic is following in a similar spirit.
Right.
Cockholm syndrome. Gosh. Cockholm. Are you starting to fall in love?
Oh shit.
Oh.
Are you have feelings for your oppressor? Sometimes sex can be an oppressor.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes. And a distraction.
Oh, hella distraction.
Yeah, because it gets you off your fort. You know what I mean?
You
You're on the
did?
road and then you're like, shit, I'm going to lay in the bed a little longer so I can get some of that. Let me hurry back home so I can get some more.
Now we talked about
morning coffee.
right. We talked about the addictive side of the game. Let's talk about the sprung side of the game a little bit. What do we tend to tolerate when we sprung off somebody? Let me tell you something. That Pisces pussy. I was tolerating a lot of shit. I saw the motherfucker in the street fighting somebody one time. Her and her sister.
Wow.
Was in the middle of the street fighting somebody.
Damn.
And I had in my mind, I got to get the fuck out. I got to go. I got shit. That
Like, she gonna bring all that vengeance home to the bed.
Right. I just.
Right.
What have you tolerated?
Oh goodness.
Because you was sprung. What have you overlooked?
Man.
What have you allowed? Knowing this shit is all kinds of wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody said it's called meat poisoning.
Oh,
what?
wow. Wow.
That's funny. Meat poisoning. I'm just saying, what have you allowed, ladies? And men. Men get tricked out when they sprung. Mm-hmm. How many bracelets have you received? Because you put that sunshine up against his ass.
Wow.
Gosh. Y'all know who Sunshine is.
And if you don't, please watch Harlem Nights and get your life together.
I'm
Right.
just saying.
Right.
God. Somebody said they allow cheating.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. We allow cheating. We may, turn our eye on it. You see it, but you kind of talk yourself out of it because you kind of don't want to mess the situation up because you're like, that's my D. Like, you know what I mean? It almost becomes, which is really sad, when a woman finds out about another woman and they're both sprung on the D. It's almost like a competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they could even know about each other, and now they're in like a competition for the D. Like the D. Right. You
Like,
feel
I'm
me?
gonna try to give it to you better, so
Right.
you don't even need that bitch.
Exactly. So everybody's landed on thick. Like, he's like the king. He goes here and they're treating him good. He goes there. Of course, there's always that barrier when that stops. But I mean, when you're sprung, you'll go for something like that. You'll get stood up.
What's the girl's name? The producer? Missy Elliott song?
Oh yeah, what is that?
Pussy don't fail me now.
Right. Right. Yeah, you try to outdo each other and shit.
I love Missy.
Yeah. But that's real talk. Like, they try to outdo each other because you're trying to, like, keep him focused, but really he doing his thing. And you know what I mean? And the other girl don't want to let him go either. Everybody like the same dick.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because if you know how to put it down, I mean, not like that, not like the same like that. But if you're dating somebody and they have good swipe, they didn't just get good with you. Every person they do it to, they're good swipe. So every broad that had a taste of that may want that back because he's hitting certain walls. You know what I mean? When you hit certain walls and areas, and you know what I'm saying? It causes a malfunction because once that wall get hit, it's almost like it opens up a memory gland. Like, I ain't never had it like this before, and I need to hold on to this here dick. You feel me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Same one. Oh, Antonio's in here trying to help us with some stuff. He's just bringing. I got one of these. Plugged in right now. The exact same cord.
That's what he uses.
Antonio Moore.
If y'all want to hear the calls, Tone Talks.
He gonna hey, don't ever promote on my show, nigga. Unless you invited, goddammit.
Like, you're his producer. What are you talking about?
Right. Tone Talks is up in here. Hey, no, I appreciate Tone. He got a great show.
Yes.
Coming up at 7:00. He got I think what's her name from Breaking Brown will be on the show.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yvette Carnell. They like Batman and Robin when they get together. Well, wait, I need a male, female.
Like
Batman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. I had to pull that together, but they're really good when they come together. She's his guest tonight. Dash Talk 7 to 8 p.m. He had to change his time. I was disappointed in him a little bit, Antonio. Sidebar. Here's the story real quick.
Sidebar.
I gave him 2 hours.
Yeah.
He was just uncomfortable doing it that long. 2 hours is too long. He was like, man, I need an hour. So nigga, do 2 hours. I can't do it.
Right? Because it might be hard to get that hour back when he wanted.
It's not. Right. That's what I'm saying. Get the 2 hour block because somebody else gonna get that other hour.
Right.
You got to dig. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else gonna get that other hour. I'm like, get the 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I said, have an hour of super tight shit. Then
Take those calls.
Take callers for the next hour.
Right.
And you good. Nah, I don't want to do it. All right.
So that's
all right.
I'm just trying to help niggas win. Okay, back to the topic.
We help people win.
True or false? People who feel extreme, I need to have them now sexual attraction often have a history of psychological trauma or neglect. God damn, I hate doing people like that.
perhaps.
Perhaps. Oh, I like it. Go deeper.
I say perhaps because, I mean, I just felt like you may not have any trauma. You just got it hit right. You want your coochie like, shit, I need that again. Shit, that ain't got nothing to do with trauma. It got to do with the activity that took place in the bed. You know what I mean? They hit it right. Your body like, where is that drug at? You
Really?
feel me? Yeah. Look,
I really believe that sex is an addictive property simply because the anatomy of a woman's body will mold itself to the anatomy of a man's body.
right.
There lies the problem.
That's how I know that's my pussy.
Right.
Right. Like,
Right.
the key of my
I'm gonna tell you right now, this is how you know shit ain't right with your woman and she cheating on you. If that pussy never feel custom.
You know what? The pussy never gets tailored to
If
your
the pussy
swipe.
is never tailored. If the pussy feel like it's off the rack.
Right.
Damn.
Nordstrom's rack pussy.
Right.
She fucking up niggas.
Right. Right.
It's crazy, but that's a good way.
Right. It's thought.
That's true.
She feel like, you know how you get some shoes. Like, these are the shoes that niggas was trying on at the store.
Right.
I want the shoes that feel stiff and fucked up. I don't want the shoes that I know somebody tried. You know, one shoe be slightly dirty and the other shoe be...
Right.
Hey, wait a minute.
Right.
I want custom.
This is why though. This is why I say some people are like surprised by my number because I kind of like built a system to keep my number lower, right? Like I built a system of like only certain people in a certain way. Like so.
What's the number? Because you're not afraid to say it.
I'm 51.
51 sex partners.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Nah, that's lower than most regular dudes without sex addiction issues.
Yeah, right. I know it's quite much lower than me myself.
So, like, and I think people are surprised by that because they think, like I said, they hear sex addict, and they think, oh, like that's just a hoe. Like, of course, my number might be larger than some like average women, but also a lot of women really lie about how many dudes they can blow.
We know.
A lot of women don't remember how many people.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Amen to that. But,
So that's why their numbers low, because
Right.
they're counting the people they can remember.
Right. Or women, they got another kind of metric.
Right.
You count significant niggas.
Right,
Right.
or the ones
Right.
that are good. I have friends who literally will be like, well, he wasn't good, so he don't count towards my number. It
Right.
wasn't,
Right.
yeah,
you
I
know,
count you whether
I
you're
regret
worthless or
it.
not.
Right.
Exactly.
So whether you're worthless or not, no matter if it was 2 minutes, if you penetrated the vagina, I counted you. So,
That nigga definitely counts when you run into him with your nigga.
Wow.
Yes.
Because I've definitely been in that situation where like you're with your girl and it's like, I didn't know you fucked this nigga, but now I know. Like just off of how uncomfortable you were in that situation right there. For
Right.
sure.
Okay.
Right.
Alright.
So, yeah.
Story time with Zoe.
So we're talking.
Oh,
So I had an ex-girlfriend. This was a little while ago. I had an ex-girlfriend who called me because she's in the same city as another girl that liked me for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one girl liked me for many years, but I never really caught up with her. So it took like 10 years for me to even catch up with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally catch up with the girl, we have sex, and it ain't cool for me. I'm like, you know, uninspired.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
I'm not inspired by a lot of people. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, the ex and then the girl, they in the same city now, working. You underdig? They go out. the other girl tells the ex. I mean, everybody knew that. Everybody knew that I was with the ex when I was with the ex. So she tells her, "Oh yeah, I was with Whoop-de-Whoop a couple years ago." Mm. You know, the girl shit. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know that bullshit y'all do, right? But the ex didn't want to blow her out by saying, "Yeah, I was with him last year." You know, she didn't want to do that and say, you know, but she did kind of tag her. She was like, "Well, you know, he only fucks with people he really has a connection with." Because the girl was kind of like, "Well, there wasn't no connection." She was like, "Well, you're kind of lucky, you know. He only kind of only fucks with people he got a connection with."
Right, true. Yep.
So she didn't, you know, Virgos, man. Don't get competitive with a Virgo, my nigga.
No, you're gonna lose.
You can't.
Well, that's
Listen, man. Michael was in competition with Prince.
Man.
Kobe was in competition with everybody in the league. You can't get over on a Virgo. No. They gon' put in their diss.
Right.
You diss them, that diss coming back, my nigga, instantly. It's boomerang diss with Virgo. But yeah, I mean, listen, certain people, when it comes to these sexual fantasies and addictions, I would say sprung. Because in a normal situation, that's sad. I would have been sprung on. But when you start finding out about the promiscuous life of motherfuckers, I'm sorry, it's just the way society is set up.
Right.
Your brain turns off.
Can't help but judge.
Right.
We be like, what? You did what? With who?
Right. Men want you to lie to them about the number. You know,
I think men don't want to know.
Yeah, they really don't want to know. Like we say, like women want to be lied to by men. The number one thing men just don't want to know about is your sexual history. They just want to think that that's the only dick that's been in there.
Because pussy is magical.
It is.
Pussy molds itself to your dick.
And it retains your DNA if you come up in there.
Oh, Jesus. Now this is the Freddy Krueger pussy now.
No, we were just talking about like 2 weeks ago, the study that they said a woman's vagina retains DNA from any guy that comes in her.
But see, to me, that's scary.
That's kind of gross.
That's disgusting.
Now that's scary. Because now,
disgusting.
what are you Lego niggas together with the baby? The baby is made of all the niggas? Like,
well,
I don't know.
I thought more like as a, like leading towards cancer. Like the more sexual partners you have, the more likely you're higher risk for cervical cancer.
Right.
Like if you have a lot of anal sex, you're at a higher rate of like, you know, having rectal cancer, like all of that kind of stuff.
Wait, hold on. What's going on here? Where did we go?
I'm just saying, like, sex in general, like certain, anything at a high frequency with different partners. Basically, they're saying different partners because your vagina is changing shape a lot. Anytime the cervix or the vagina is changing shape a lot, because again, it is magical and it does form to your penis. If it's changing shape a lot, it's actually causing like abnormal cell formation, which can cause you to have a higher risk for cancer.
So if you have
an
8-pointed star-shaped coochie,
Wow.
you got an octagon shape up in there. Shit's bad.
Right. Like if she's wide open, she's likely like a hoe, and she might have cancer. Like that's
this is not good.
Hilarious.
I'm wrong. Okay? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Gosh. I've been sprung a couple of times. I had another time where I was sprung. Let me tell you why I get sprung. Because I don't fuck as much as I'm supposed to. Because I'm discerning. You understand? I try to be real careful. Like I told you before, the homies labeled me a dick snob.
Right.
You know? Because I don't fuck everything that presents itself.
Right.
So typically when I settle in on a person, it's because they are of a certain quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to be like, oh, you special. I put all of these attributes on them, which is the dumbest shit I could have ever done, because now I know, like, them motherfuckers ain't special. These niggas is Richard Parker. Have you guys seen The Life of Pi?
Yes.
These niggas is Richard Parker.
Yes.
You over here thinking this goddamn tiger
Is your friend.
is your friend, nigga. No.
He's just using you to survive.
You understand?
Right.
I had to recognize that. You know, I would put all these attributes thinking this motherfucker was special. And then I could have got mad about it and said, well, you know, you missed out on a lot of pussy. But I just let it go because I still do believe that certain people are special. Just not all the bullshit motherfuckers I was fucking with. I know that's wrong to say. Is that wrong?
No, you keeping it real. You telling your story. So that's your
Somebody
story.
says, Zoe, keep going. You're describing me.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Listen, I think it's true. Modi was telling me, he was like, nigga, you're a god king. He said, you should be fucking them all. That's what he told me.
With a condom, please, Jesus.
That's what he told me. He was like, you should be fucking them all, man. Like, all this discretion. And he said, take them down. They're here for the takedown, my nigga. But, you know, again, like I said, I would create like an ice princess. And I think this is what led me to being sprung in the situations that I was sprung in. It wasn't just the pussy, it was the entire package that I, you know, the construct that I built around the particular person.
You put them on a pedestal, that whole package.
Right. Everybody here talking about Gemini shit. He talking some real shit. I mean, hey.
Man, it's real though.
This is a real situation. And that was my problem. Was idealizing the person when they was really Richard Parker.
Man, it happens to the best of us. Happened to me.
Happened to me.
The worst thing you can do is get sprung on a motherfucker who ain't really down for you.
Right. Oh my God. That's the worst.
Speak on it, Mimi.
Oh my goodness. That happened to me. You know what I mean? I mean, they were down, but they weren't down the type of down I'm used to down. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, they were down, but there was limitations to the down because they had a secret additional life, though. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So if you have a secret additional life, then your down is a halfway mark. I mean, you want to keep me and then keep your other situation. So that was a problem. You know what I mean? But I wanted that person. I was hoping, I didn't know that that was the situation until they got busted. But by that time, I was already sprung. When you're already sprung on a dick, right, and you think this is your dude, and then you find out there's somebody else, you're like, I'm going to take him, or everybody's kind of fighting in a sense to gain that person's love, time, and to get rid of the other person. And and it doesn't work like that, but that's what comes to people's mind.
But what you talking about right now, that's how I ruined the Pisces.
Really? So you ruined her.
I made her evil.
What did you do?
I'm just saying, Pisces are sweet girls.
Yes.
But when you take them to the dark side, my nigga.
Oh, they enjoy the dark side.
Them niggas fuck with the dark side.
So you put them onto the game and then they just ran with it.
I made her a Sith.
Yeah, I was just going to say a Sith. I was thinking.
By not being truthful.
Right.
What I was doing, I was playing into her beliefs and ideas and I was matching my behavior
to what she wanted.
To what she wanted and what she valued, but it wasn't my truth.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to sell her on the fact that it was.
So you were my ex. Thanks, though.
And that just ruined her. She hate me today, my nigga.
Wow.
I know why. I empathize with her experience.
And I was putting that log on her.
So it's my ex. So again, I empathize with her situation.
See, I'm gonna tell you, the quickest way to ruin a woman is lie and fuck the shit out of her.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah, just be
That
honest.
little combo, they can't recover. They gon' burn your mama's house
Because
down.
again, if you're sprung on the dick, you're gonna take the truth, no matter how ugly it is, really, right? That's what we're basically saying.
Yeah.
So why lie? Why lie? I'm sprung and I don't. You can tell me whatever, and I'm down because I want it, you know. So that's why lying it fuck with the whole game, because it's like, well, I was gonna let you get away with whatever the fuck you were doing if you would have just told me that's what you were doing.
Right.
I was lying. And I think at the time, I was lying to like 3 motherfuckers at the same time.
Wow. And they all wanted you.
Gosh. But the constant was that wood.
Uh-oh.
I'm a red bone. It was redwood getting laid down.
Oh, shit.
I took these motherfuckers to the sequoias.
Oh, shit.
You understand? But I was lying.
Mm-hmm.
But now full circle, right? Full circle, I recognized they had lessons to teach me.
Mm-hmm.
This is why the book is dedicated to all, that's how it opens, dedicated to all my failed relationships.
Amen.
Right.
That's the dedication of this bitch.
Well, that's like the outline to the stories. That's what sets up every chapter is like one of your relationship examples.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I was fucking up and lying and just being disingenuous, inauthentic, while fucking the Kool-Aid out of them. I am a red bone, nigga. I'm from the South, nigga. Look how red Mimi is in the camera. That motherfucker delicious.
That part.
Little caramel ass. Yeah. But see, and again, women get sprung on fantasies too.
Yes. Probably the number one thing that will get you sprung.
Exactly.
No, seriously. Women will make up a whole story in their mind.
You understand? Talk to me.
Justify.
Talk to me about how y'all make up stories.
Shoot, a girl could date a guy and it could be just a one, a little pickup type thing, and they'll do it one time. She like, that's my dude, and she doesn't care if he's got other women. That's her dude. She may even begin to want to fight. I mean, I'm not really that person, but I've seen women do that. I've seen.
Mimi, I think you will fight.
I will fight, but I don't.
I saw what was going on last night. I think your ass will fight. I just want to let you know. Okay, cool. Finish your story.
Oh, but not. Look. Let me do a disclaimer. I fight over certain things. You get what I mean? But I'm not gonna fight like if we're not really serious and you're doing your thing. That's you and that girl's thing. I'm not gonna get into it with her about you. You know her and me. I don't know her, so she don't owe me shit. Now she get in my face talking a bunch of shit and knocking on the door. I answered and I knock you back out. Now
shit. See, I told you Mimi be fighting.
So
my homie right there. Right?
Yeah, so I don't play when it comes to stuff like that. You know what I mean?
But that's because we older now. When I was young, first off, I didn't have my daddy.
No, when I was young, I was crazy. I was about that life when I was young. I mean, all of the best worlds. Like, in other words, I knew streets. I knew, expensive living. I knew rich people. I knew all nationalities, but I knew the hood. And so, therefore, I know a conglomerate of people, but I'm not scared to go anywhere. And I can deal with any person on any level, which is a blessing. Because everybody can't go anywhere and be accepted. I can get dropped off in the hood right now. They be like, what it do? I be like, what up,
look at this outfit, though. Like, girl.
Arlene? Arlene?
Yes.
Tell me how women are sprung off of their own fantasies sometimes in relationships.
Let me tell you, I remember being younger and there was this guy and he was one of those guys everybody liked, but he liked me. And so it was just one of those guys that girls were just like, women out here were chasing him. And I mean, I had it in my head that this is what, he believed in me, he encouraged me, he was doing the damn thing. And I was like, okay, I can see this going somewhere. I thought he was going to be the one, and he was doing some other things, but I was ignoring it. I was not paying attention because as far as I was concerned, I was the only one. I was getting what I needed from him. I was getting it. So until it was actually in my face, I had that fantasy. I had that story in my head that this is what it was.
Right.
And you could not tell me anything unless you presented it to me in my face.
Right.
There was nobody who could tell me that this man was not the man. There was nobody who could tell me that this man was not right and this one was not the one.
Right.
And so when I was confronted with the reality, it was like, fuck. Now let me figure out if I can go back to ignoring that.
Right.
Right. That
Or let me figure out a way to blame him.
Right.
Oh, see, and that's the thing though. At first, I didn't even blame him. I blamed the girls who were chasing him. Because it was easier. It was easier to maintain the relationship if I didn't put the blame on him, because then I could continue doing whatever I wanted to do. But if I could blame the quote unquote nameless hoe, and the nameless hoe was the problem,
Right.
you know, I didn't have to deal with the problem of it being him.
Right.
It wasn't him anymore. It was the nameless hoe.
Right.
As long as I get rid of the nameless hoe, I'm gonna have what I need.
Right.
So I mean, you come up with this whole, you will justify some shit. I justified late nights. I justified all kinds of stuff I would see in the studio because I was gonna blame that nameless hoe.
Right.
And it was really her fault.
Right.
You know.
Tiff,
I mean,
what about you?
Well, I was gonna say for women, the fantasy is like really key, and for me, it's not even necessarily like for the relationship, but even like down to the sex. Like, women will be stimulated by the idea of what they think the encounter will be before it happens.
yeah.
And for me, fantasy is so important. Like,
That's what happened to the.
yeah, like for me, even down to like masturbating, like I have to have like a whole story. Like I do like a whole little thing. Like because I'm in recovery, I don't do dildos and I don't do porn. So like everything's just manual and self-stimulated. So like I have to build a whole little fantasy and a little like thing, and you know I'm artistic and I'm an actor too, so that's helpful. But, like I have a whole little storyline before I go into like my little situations. So if the fantasy isn't good or I'm too tired to make the fantasy, I can't even self-stimulate. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to bed unstimulated.
Right.
Is that when the routine comes in?
Well, I try to fight the urge to like call a certain person.
Right.
I don't. It down to I have one person in LA. Okay, I have one person.
Gosh, I don't want to say it, but the Spirit is calling me. The Spirit is calling me to say it.
Ooh, what?
It's a question. So let me put it in a form. So fantasies get your pussy wet?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So lies get your pussy wet.
Let me tell you something. If you got a good fantasy, you will be ready before he even gets home.
Right.
I would have been done ready myself a few times.
Right?
Oh,
That's why when you come home and your woman is waiting for you to walk in that door and she's ready to go, that's because she's been building that fantasy in her head. She's ready to go.
Right.
She's ready to, I mean, that's what we do.
Gosh,
that is what we do. Why do you think women do the lingerie and we do the body creams and stuff like that to make us feel good and make us feel sexy? So it gets us in the mood. So we feel good in our lingerie. We feel good when our skin is soft and it smells good because we know when he touches us, he's gonna like it.
You're married. Right. Could you stop now?
Right.
Because I don't want to take any of this. I don't want to take any of this back to the house.
Right.
On the fantasy weird side of the game. So
fantasy weird side of the game.
Right.
No, but let me just say, I just think sometimes that's a lot of pressure to put on a guy.
Yeah.
Because I in some senses, I do believe that fantasy is essential to intimacy. But I feel like the man has to be involved in the creation of that fantasy. Sometimes women come in with template kind of ready-made built fantasies with expectations associated with that. And as Iyanla Van Zant calls those are like silent contracts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he don't know he signed up to play this role in this fantasy, and now all of a sudden she's disappointed because the fantasy is unfulfilled.
Right.
And that definitely does happen too.
I done had a woman jump out on me butt ass naked, like ta-da. I'm like,
Hilarious. You know like that. But you know, if she would have had some music and danced and made drop.
But she was a little younger, but she felt like just me being naked, you should be excited.
Right.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah,
bitch, you
like,
better say something
no.
deep, or you better
right?
you better be
Right.
like a naked philosopher or some
Well, I always
some
ask
like a
people what their
naked fine ass
fantasy is.
guru, say some deep shit. You like get it.
Right.
Just can't hop out naked, my nigga. Like
Right.
we're good.
You're a poet.
Right.
I always ask people what their fantasy is, and then in hopes that it'll trigger like a conversation, so maybe we can find a mutual one that we both have. That's what used to drive me crazy about my ex. He always used to swear he didn't have no fantasies, and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to work with that? Like, how am I
Well,
supposed to
men
do
are.
what you want?
But
Like,
wait a minute,
you could have
Tiff.
said like, I want you to like go run down the
That's what I'm
hallway
saying.
naked, and I'll be like, straight
men are-
baby, let's do it.
Men are different. We don't construct fantasies.
Not even fantasy,
The
like
way-
a preference. Like he wouldn't even say like I prefer behind or in front. Or
No.
reverse cowgirl
It
or
doesn't.
whatever.
It doesn't work that way.
I wish it did.
You
It would make
can't.
life easy.
But see, that's some Gemini shit you're doing.
I know.
The Gemini shit is tell me what it is so I can mentalize it and understand
So I
my
can give it
role
to
in
you.
it. And then I'll give it to you. No, that's just not how it works. Sometimes, let me tell you, this is another insight from a music guy.
Ooh.
Kumo D, man, that's a wise motherfucker.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The nigga was like, men are affected by women's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, I'm saying this incorrect. Men are affected by the physicality of women.
Yes.
A woman walk by, we be like, oh,
Okay.
and there she is. It like we have, what is that shit called? What's those little dresses y'all wear in the spring? What are them shits?
Oh, the sundresses.
The sundress. We are affected by your physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just float by this motherfucker with a sundress on and it's partially see through them stripes.
Oh,
You know
my
them stripes be low key see through, my nigga. You affect us physically. Beyonce affects us physically.
Oh, yes.
Rihanna physically. We be like,
Right.
oh,
Yoga
look.
pants,
This.
nigga. Yoga pants.
You understand? We just
Yoga pants
But-
for life.
yoga pants
Man, look, yoga
fucks
Right.
with us.
I live in yoga pants.
So, but how men affect women
Mm.
is emotionally.
Yeah.
Right.
Michael Jackson had women in tears.
Right.
Yes.
Literal faint tears,
Yes.
fucked up over it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Luther Vandross was sweeter than a pack of now laters on Halloween.
Right.
But women in tears.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because Maxwell,
Mm-hmm.
women in tears.
Yeah.
Men
Mhm.
affect women emotionally.
Yeah.
And that turns us on. Emotion turns
So
us on.
let
Yes.
me explain. You're going to, Tiffany, it's time for you to learn now. You're going to get the emotional, or it's not even emotional, it's more so passion from a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what separated Mike, his passion. That motherfucker started singing the passion, you could hear it, like you hear the intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what drew women in emotionally. So, ladies,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do something in a physical way,
Mm-hmm.
like that is, and when I say physical way, I don't mean just jump out naked.
Right.
It has to be in alignment with who your dude is.
Right.
Right.
You understand?
Mhm.
Like physical just doesn't mean nudity,
Right.
right? Again, the other show you guys broke down when you talked about a woman can put herself in a position
Yes.
knowing this nigga gonna recognize me.
Yes.
Oh, right.
And in a way, that's how women communicate without talking.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna position myself right here. He gonna see me because we're affected by the physicality.
Exactly.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So if you do that in a conscious manner, in context with some shit that's in alignment with him, you're gonna get the smooth shit fucked out of you.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
for
what's
sure.
gonna happen.
That part.
Yeah.
That's
It takes
what's
a
gonna
little more
happen.
work. And I learned
Right.
that eventually. It just takes a little more work because you have, like you said, you have to be in line with who he is. And so,
Right.
yeah, it just takes.
So, but see, a lot of times,
Creativity.
you're right. And a lot of times, many women that are young are more in relationships or in more connected to and more in relationship with their ideas and their subsequent expectations than they are with the nigga.
Right.
The nigga has a role to fulfill.
But he's not the
It's like, okay, nigga, you gonna do this or not? Because there's other niggas that can do this.
Oh yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So how you really sprung a woman, how you really get a woman sprung, right, is your ability to not only deliver on the expectation, but do it in a way that she perceives to be authentic.
Right.
She gonna fuck you forever, my nigga.
Right.
This, you can steal her car.
Right.
My mama was sick.
Right.
You can do all types of shit.
She ain't going nowhere.
She not gonna leave.
She like, that's my man.
I'm saying.
I'm just trying to break it down for the dudes that are somehow confused. Here, true story with Zoe. This is why I always say, if you were to query all of the women that I've ever been with, you're gonna, what is a 50 is an F in school, right?
Yeah.
50 out of 100.
Yeah.
I'm going to score an F on the fuck side of the game. The reason being is because I don't fuck them all the same. It's all based on the connection. It's all based on what level of authenticity they get from me.
Oh, true story. I did the
That's
same thing.
So it's 50-50.
Yeah, I did the
Right.
same thing.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm really connected, you really get the shit fucked out of you.
Right.
Right.
That part.
If I'm not really fucking with you,
Meh.
you're gonna get about 7 minutes of erection,
Right.
about another 7 minutes of mid yogurt soft serve erection.
You know what? I'm done.
I just gotta be honest.
Right.
You gonna get the soft serve fuck.
Soft serve. Top side of the game.
Yeah. 2 more pumps. Yeah.
I'm so mad.
You not gonna be sprung. I just gotta be honest.
Right.
And see, as I've gotten older, what I've recognized is this. Like and when I was a little younger, I didn't see it. But there were mamas involved with their daughters. Whispering, like, this nigga's not controllable.
Right.
Right.
This nigga will not be tamed.
Right.
And instead of I would take offense, but now in hindsight I recognize like that really was a compliment.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, what kind of nigga you looking for?
Right.
Exactly.
Damn sure ain't this nigga right here.
Right.
I'm not finna play no role.
Right.
Now, when I was lying for the pussy, why did I've always had, pussy was always there.
It was always around.
Poetry, pussy was like that old road.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
Always there, willing to lead me to the next journey.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
I
Pussy.
can't even say nothing. I feel like just replace the word dick in there, and I'm like, is that my story? Wait a minute.
It's true.
I don't know.
It's true.
Like, wait, I can't
No,
even judge you,
listen, I just try to tell the truth now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, my Virgo chick from back in the day, she hit me with so much truth, and she was younger than me. It just didn't resonate. It was a long distance relationship. She was like, look, nigga, Okay, you got a square jaw, green eyes, red bone. Nigga, you're gonna be fucking. It's a long distance relationship. You can do that.
Right.
Just don't get anybody pregnant.
Right.
What did I do? I got 2 babies.
Oh, so
Oh,
you
wow.
so stupid. What? The young you was not smart.
I was wild.
Yeah,
And because I was hard headed,
Yeah.
like you ain't gonna tell me shit.
right.
But see, as an older man, I evolved to understand, and really, it was because of the birth of my daughter,
You said this.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I evolved to understand women got some valuable shit to tell you, my nigga, if you listen.
Right.
Especially the woman that's down with you.
Right.
I mean, for real. I done told you now, don't get sprung on somebody that ain't down.
Right.
You get sprung on somebody that ain't down, my nigga, they gon' steal your credit. They gon' do some shit with your credit. You underdig? They gon' fuck something up in your life.
Right.
And you gon' feel like, because again, what do we do when we choose somebody, men and women? We tend to open up to them.
Right.
Yes.
We tend to get hella vulnerable, and we start sharing shit about ourselves. And the next thing you know, what do? Because they were never really down with you. What do?
They use it against you.
Right.
They use it.
Exactly.
God damn, they the worst. They use it.
Exactly.
You be like, wait a minute, you was in here with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Wrong, nigga.
Right.
Right.
That's why I say watching them. I'm
Yes.
watching every move that's being made.
Right. Actually, and you brought that up on the last show, though, about like how do you know if you can trust someone? And I don't remember who gave the answer, but I remember being like, the real answer is you don't. Because like some of these people don't show you for 30, 40, 50 years who they really are. So you really never know. There's characteristics, there's things you can look for that generally can tell you if someone's really down for you. But the reality is like, you have to go into life loving and trusting courageously. Like,
This how you know.
You might get burnt.
This how you know. This is what I've learned. A motherfucker that's down for you in crucial moments will put you in front of them.
True.
Right.
In crucial moments.
Right.
When you need them the most,
They are there.
they will selflessly,
Yes.
Right.
what did the Christians say? Step in the gap.
Right.
Yes.
Without, because you got some motherfuckers who wait for the gap and go, this is an opportunity. They like relationship stockbrokers.
Right.
Right.
This gap represents opportunity.
Right.
Exactly.
That's how you know the difference. Selflessly step in the gap, put themselves in front of you. It's going to cost them to help you, and they're going to help you without charging you for it.
Right.
That's how you know somebody down for you.
And without holding it over you.
They not finna hold it over your head. Nigga, this is just
Not
what
on the books.
this is just what we do, right?
That's how it goes.
There's no secret ledger somewhere.
Right.
Nigga, you were there. I had to do it. Done deal.
Right.
Yes.
That part.
That's real, and that's rare.
My dad used to tell me when I was younger, when I started dating somebody, he's like, fight early. When you are starting to get to know somebody, have a fight early. Because with what little bit they do know about you, if they throw it at you then, imagine what they're going to do with the stuff that they know later.
Wow.
Because it's like, you know what kind of
Good
personality
shit.
somebody has. Because you will learn very, very quickly what their fighting style is. And that will tell you so much about somebody's personality and how they treat people. And listen to how they talk about the people who used to be in their lives. Because if they gonna talk shit about that person and tell you all their business, what do you think is gonna happen when you walk out that door?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's
you just
fire.
have to, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't think that you have to be, like, I don't think it's like go into everything just being, you know, you just have to trust. You have to trust your instincts, and you have to be paying attention.
Yep.
Because the thing is, it's like people do not hide who they are for 30 years. They're showing you. You just choose not to pay attention. They're showing you different things. They may not show you exactly what they're going to do to you, but they're showing you who they are, and they're showing you what they're capable of.
Right.
Now, whether you pay attention, that's on you.
Right.
But they are letting you know. They let you know early. Like I said, that person who you buy them an ice cream, or they buy you ice cream when you don't have money, and then when they need something, they be like, "Well, I got you that ice cream, and you don't want to help me." That little thing what do you think that's going to be 10 years down the line? It's going to
Actually,
be that
that's how
big
someone
thing.
got put in the indifference mode recently,
Mhm.
and he
Oh,
was really
shit. Here we
confused.
go.
Right.
No, like it was
Yeah.
a guy I was talking to, and at first I was just like, you know what, you just in the friend zone, like cool, because I'm a dope friend, it's fine. You in the friend zone, and he was like,
I'm a dope friend too. You just won't be fucking.
I'm
And
sorry,
so-
that friend zone thing bothers me.
No,
It's
so-
like I'm in the friend zone, and I'm like, no, I don't have to fuck you. Like,
Right.
is that a punishment to be
well,
a friend, a woman's friend?
no, and he was like, that was fine because he supposedly was trying to be, abstinent at that time too. He's like, I'm gonna go through a life change, whatever.
I think
But
we should ponder that.
Here's the thing. We'll come back to that. That
Sorry.
should be a whole topic of its own. That should be its own show, though. So yeah. But in this scenario,
I mean, I'm gonna type that shit right now.
yeah, like my. So I was like, you're in the friend zone. But then when I actually called for something I would ask a friend for, he wasn't able to follow through. And so I told him, I was like, to be honest, I just can't even talk to you anymore. Like, you're not even a good friend. And I was like, so not only will I never date you, but I can't even speak to you because you're not even a good friend. And he actually got super defensive, and I broke it down to him, like, all the qualities he showed that were like the opposite of a good friend.
That's not a good friend,
That's not a
Tiffany.
good friend.
Tiffany,
somebody who
that's
wants
not
to
a
be
good
in
friend,
your-
okay?
Wants to be in your pants. That's not a friend.
Hold
That's
on, hold on,
that's not it.
Tiffany.
No,
Hold
and
on.
it wasn't just
Hold
one.
on.
It wasn't just
Tiffany,
incident,
I
it was
have to
multiple
address this.
incidences.
I have to address this.
What?
It's not being a good friend by telling him he will never have an opportunity to smash.
No, that came later.
That's just not being a good friend.
Right.
Because if you're a good friend,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a platonic relationship, and you just unequivocally close the door on the possibility, I didn't even say probability,
Oh no, we started fucking.
the
We went
potentiality,
to friends. That's different.
you
We
can't
didn't
take
start
that off the
platonic.
table.
We didn't start platonic.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the difference.
that's right.
We
Well,
started
that's-
fucking.
that is a big
Then we
difference.
transitioned
All
to
right,
friend
cool.
zone. Then I
Right.
transitioned to you're just not even a friend. Bye.
Wait a minute. That's, to me, that is a punishment.
Right.
Then
We
I
can't
would say-
start off fucking, and then all of a sudden,
To be fair, he put me in the
Right,
friend zone. I own
right.
it. He tried to put me in the friend zone. I was like, fine, because in the back of my head, I was like, your sex ain't that dope.
let me tell you something,
I
Tiffany.
was like,
Let
I'll
me tell you
take
something
the
right now,
friend
Tiffany.
zone.
Right.
Let me tell you something right now.
Oh my god.
Let me tell you something right now. This is how men feel about it.
Put me in the friend zone.
Once I fuck you, I always got the keys to that lock.
Oh, I know that's what y'all think.
That's what a lot.
That's
of
how
That's
we
what they
think.
Totally broken.
But that's,
Her.
that's what they think.
I will
that
hurt your
part.
feelings all of the way.
You know good and well. First off, you can only sequester the busters. The significant niggas in your life will always have a key to that box. I promise
okay.
you.
Significant brothers, yeah,
that's-
okay.
The
yeah,
significant
yeah,
nigga?
Absolutely,
That's
significant. But the other one,
The motherfucking Billy D. William come in.
Well, there's only like
You
this
gonna
many
let my
significant
hand
dudes out
fall
there,
off.
so
That
shit.
nigga.
Hey,
That
Right.
Chabella nigga. Chabella. You gonna give it up now.
right, Chabella,
You know it.
right.
All right, listen.
this many.
We've gone too far. We've got to shut it down.
Oh, man.
Today's topic was fun, as is commonplace. We don't have all the answers, but we do have great conversations here. The Voice of Reason Friday night is finally over. However, you can hear this on a replay, right? We're going to put it in the queue and have it replayed, of course. Yes, indeed. These shows are amazing. I want you to share them once it's up on YouTube. And don't forget, continue to support. Continue to GoFundMe.com. Support all the businesses we support. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And, oh, by the way, no Voice of Reason. no Zo What Show or Voice of Reason this Monday, the 23rd. I'm out of town.
All right, safe
Shit's
travels.
fire. I'll be back on Wednesday. So Voice of Reason will return then. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. Deuces.
Deuces.
Bye.